Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we are taking a look at Bitcoin and going to be doing some technical analysis going into this week. Today is Sunday, September 26th, 2021. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about when looking at Bitcoin is that if you look at this even for just a quick moment, you can see that we've seen this sort of new pattern emerging, which is these big drop-offs followed by shallow retracements, followed by, again, big drop-offs. Now, part of the reason for this is, of course, the recent news out of China, which was just a harder stance and a bigger crackdown on crypto as a whole. But what is it going to do to the price of Bitcoin? Is this the nail in the coffin? Are we headed lower, lower, lower? Well, to be fair, I think that because we haven't already shot way further than this, I don't think that the crypto crowd is completely, decimated over this news. However, I do think that for now, the hype and the glory of Bitcoin is just not there. You just don't have the crowds, pushing into Bitcoin, which we know is usually what causes these really massive bullish rallies that we see on the daily and the weekly chart. Now, in terms of a quick look at the moving averages, you can see we've got the 20, the 50, and the 100. We sort of have broken out of just the complete downtrend structure, which we saw back during the summer, May months, June, July. The summer months basically were super bearish for Bitcoin itself. Then we entered into late summer, August here, sort of starting to see a nice rally there in August to the upside, followed by some stagnation here. Well, with the recent news, we have seen, again, a new pattern arising where we are seeing some sell pressure coming into the price of Bitcoin. So for me, I have to be short-term bearish until we see a signal of something otherwise. So let me take a quick look at Bitcoin, for example. Looking at Bitcoin, you can see the moving averages are sort of crossing back over. We see the shorter-term ones starting to tangle up with the longer term ones, that 20 coming under that 50. And what this may be telling us is that, at least for the time being, the crypto crowd is basically on summer vacation. And that might mean that we see some short-term bearishness. Now, long-term, I do think that crypto has a place in the future. That is my opinion. Some people will agree with me. Some people will disagree with me. But for me, I think that it is still a worthy buy longer term personally. But for now, acknowledging price action, it does look like the sellers are in control of this market. Let's look at the 4-hour chart really quick, and I want to show you this. So looking here on the 4-hour chart, we can go ahead and draw in this trend line. And what you'll notice is that we are making a consistent now lower high. We saw a big high, a blowout top there at about 48,000, give or take, coming up to 48.8 basically, just about there, before selling off really aggressively, sawing that retracement or putting in that retracement, and then again a nice sell off there, big red candle on the 24th. So as we look at this now, price has sort of made a comeback here. We had a big strong green candle there, but now is just the question, can we see follow through? We saw this level hold, which happens to be a 61.8 level. You can see if we draw from the swing high to the swing low, we were just shallow of 61.8. That's my fault. We really just came up into that 50 to 61.8 zone, which also happened to be a pretty significant level of what was support, now became resistance. So that was a very clearly, sort of in hindsight, of course, a very big sell signal or sell level for people who were watching Bitcoin from a supply mindset. Now, looking at this thing going forward, this downtrend is still intact. And until it is no longer intact, I think that a path of least resistance for Bitcoin is still to the downside. Now, to be fair to the bulls, we did see a nice little rally off of this 40,800 level. And now the question is, is that going to break? Is that going to be enough to get us above prices that we have struggled with, such as that 45,000 mark? That is the question for Bitcoin bulls. Now, for the Bitcoin bears out there, I think it is possible, especially with some of the latest developments in terms of the China situation, and also big one being just a general push into US dollar as sort of a safe haven right now. We are seeing concerns around the world right now in terms of risk off sentiment, which is basically moving away from sort of riskier assets, which we know Bitcoin kind of dings the bell for one of the most aggressive and volatile instruments out there to be buying. And what we have also noticed is that during times where the stock market declines, we're also seeing Bitcoin decline at the same time. So let me show you this. We'll take the S&P 500 for example, and you can kind of see, actually, you know what, I'm going to do this differently. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use an indicator here, the correlation coefficient. I want to take a look at the SPX 500. We'll take a look at that here and apply that. And what you'll notice here is that there is sort of this higher level of correlation than maybe we have seen in the past. What it seems like is that during times where the market is coming down, Bitcoin is also sharing in that sort of pain. And then when times are, good, so is Bitcoin. So it's kind of an interesting thing. It's sort of acting like a risk-on asset, similar to like a highly aggressive stock, if you will. But anyways, when I look at Bitcoin now, from a technical analysis standpoint, it does look bearish. And I think that a possible place where we could see Bitcoin go is maybe a move down for further support. Maybe a new fresh low would be good for Bitcoin to find some fresh buyers who can actually break us out of this funk. Some big levels, of course, have to be the low of months, which would be right there around 30,000, which we tagged back in July of this year. So will we go back there? I mean, it's possible. Again, when things get really scary for Bitcoin, the dips can be pretty insane. It's definitely not something, obviously, that I would recommend to somebody just to, if you're looking for a quiet ride to the moon, this is not the place to be. This is a quite highly volatile market to be investing or trading in. Anyways, I think a very plausible place, if we draw a fib from the swing low to the swing high here on the daily chart, sort of our summer rally, if you will, from the start there of July up until sort of beginning of September, we had this really good run up to 52, 53,000 for Bitcoin. We just tagged the 50% retracement. Maybe it's time for us to see a bit more of a dip, and then we see the buyers possibly step back in at that 61.8. If you're an investor, maybe there's some longer term plays that you may be interested. And for me, looking at Bitcoin, I've been a holder of Bitcoin for some time. I bought back in 2019 a pretty good bit. So I'm still just sort of investing on it, but there have been recently some more appealing trading styles and strategies that I've been looking to employ on crypto, such as trend following strategy. So for me as a bull, I would love to see this thing start to actually make signals of a breakout to the upside, which we can talk about that scenario as well. This is the scenario that I would like to happen the most, which would be a breakout of 45 and then looking for something like this. Absolutely would love the idea of catching the break and watching for a big scream to the upside there on Bitcoin. But until that starts to happen, I'm not going to just sit here and buy into the sell pressure. I think for now, the path of least resistance could be a push down to that 61.8 level, especially as things continue to be a little bit nerve-wracking in markets. I think that is the path of least resistance. On the flip side, though, like I said, optimal scenario is if things become very strong for Bitcoin. I would love the idea of a breakout buy after a retest, something like that. So with that said, if you enjoyed this video, I know this is a newer thing. I don't do crypto very often, but I am getting into it and I wanted to share some content around Bitcoin and my thoughts. So if you did enjoy this video, hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. We're going to be doing more content like this. And also in the description down below, there's a bunch of stuff that may be helpful to you if you'd like to join our free Telegram, our free newsletter, things like that. Again, feel free to click those links down below in the description. With that said, guys, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.